Welcome back to the Dana Delivers podcast. And I'm so excited about today's episode because we have an incredible guest who's truly inspiring. Meet Toni Calderon, founder and CEO of Pastanito, a brand new franchise that's all about fresh, delicious pasta and doing business the right way. Toni's story is one of those wow moments. She comes from a long and rich legacy of restaurateurs, so food and hospitality definitely run in her blood. Toni's been in the food and beverage industry since she was just a kid, learning the ropes and working her way up in some of the biggest names in the restaurant industry. But here's the thing, Toni isn't just building a business, she's on a mission. She's determined to succeed while also creating opportunities for others to succeed, making amazing food and growing into something big. In this episode, we're diving into Toni's journey, how she got started, the challenges she faced, and her vision for Pastanito to become a nationwide franchise. And make sure you listen to the end because Toni's got some huge news to share. She's about to get some major attention, like national or maybe even worldwide. Trust me, you're going to want to hear how she's turning her dreams into a reality while staying true to her values. This is one of those moments where you'll want to say, I heard it here first. So grab a snack, maybe some pasta, and get ready to be inspired by Toni Calderon. Toni, before you go, I like to always kick off with how I met somebody or the first time I met them. Toni and I were recording this in March, only met a few weeks ago at a conference where, as most of my podcasts are, Jim Bayless introduced us via email. I was like, okay, great. We'll see who this girl is because she reached out to me on LinkedIn with like a cold email. And I'm like, okay, sure, let's meet. And then she said, Jim connected us. And then I said, yes. And as soon as we did, I was like, new best friend. So Jim, thank you. And Toni, welcome.
Hey. Yes, thank you, Jim, for the connection. I mean, I barely met him and he was already ready to introduce me to you. We must have been linked in another world somewhere that our personalities were meant to know each other, and knowing you is refreshing. You are a breath of fresh air, girl. So
thank you.
Good deal with you on my personal board of advisors now, whether you like it or not, Dana.
Yeah, perfect. Count me in. I'll be president of the fan club. So, Toni, you sent me an email on LinkedIn like, hey, we should connect. And we met. And the first thing you did very briefly was tell me about Pastanito, which is your company you're working on now, and that you're going to be franchising and you're looking at how to grow that. And we'll get into that later. But I wanted to hear your story. And when you started telling me, I was just blown away and in awe. So for our listeners, tell everyone who you are, new to this franchise scene, but not new to restaurants.
Yeah. So thank you for that. I am a disruptor by nature. So being a third generation restaurateur, my grandfather originated pizza in my hometown. I grew up as a pizza shop girl. My father was a serial entrepreneur. He married into the family and all of his ideas were always better and bigger. Brought me along the journey for his conquest in life to, franchise his restaurant idea. So at 12 years old, I'm learning about commissary spaces and what franchising is and what Possible and then the Possible Express was. And when he couldn't make his vision come to fruition, I knew at a young age it was going to be my life's mission to get this family idea off the ground, right? So fast forward for, my teenage life, I wanted to work at McDonald's at 14 so I could learn how they did it. And then I wanted to work my way up the corporate ladder. I worked for cool places like Buca de Beppo and then Darden. I worked my way up there in Florida. Then when I opened up my first full service restaurant in Pennsylvania, my ex-husband brought me back to my hometown. We were arranged.
That's crazy because
is that wild?
He does.
And I dumbass went through with it. So I started our first restaurant. I got it off the ground. I opened the restaurant and he worked for my father, but the name of it was Two Tonys. And just cute because his name was Toni. My name's Toni. That fucking cute. So from there, I was the girl in the restaurant owner's shoes and blew up in a way that, had to get validation. I had to prove myself 10 times harder that I was the one behind the restaurant. Because naturally, everybody thought it was your ex-husband. He must be the one. So I opened up a restaurant incubator in a location downtown next to mine. And we incubated 28 different other fellow restaurateurs who were aspiring to own their own restaurant one day.
That's so amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was a really cool, expensive mission. Right. Because I was paying for everybody else's fuck ups. But I was learning a lot on that journey. right? Helping others with their P&Ls. It was really cool. We had like a Shark Tank set up, and people from our community would pitch their concepts. We'd let them run through for a month at a time, and then we'd partner them with a local investor should they pass all of the qualifications. And from that, 5 different brick and mortars opened up, which it was amazing.
So cool.
Yeah, I was proud of it, but we had to stop it because my investor told me I'm way too young and broke to be a philanthropist. So,
Okay, well, kind of fair. Young, no, but broke.
yeah,
Maybe we should start somewhere.
great advice. So I pivoted and opened up 2 more restaurant concepts that were in that space. I was able to test out Pastanito. So Pastanito happened from 2 Tonys. We had a 3-minute cook time on a fresh pasta noodle, which is amazing, a game changer. And realized that I had something there. I couldn't test the 3-minute cook time and get it out the door because you're paying for an experience in a fine dining restaurant. But we pivoted to a food truck. So I opened up the Rigatoni food truck, which is the best name ever.
Right. I love it too. Right. So fun.
So the Rigatoni is out on the road, and we're, catering to lines of people, rolling into all of that marketing we did for the brick and mortar with 2 Tonys and then the pop-up. So we have like this huge following in our community now. So nationally, the Rigatoni was successful.
And I know you said that in Pennsylvania, but for those listening who don't know what neighborhood, tell us where you're talking about, because I'm going to bring this up in a little bit again.
Yeah, so we're in York, Pennsylvania.
Okay. Keep going.
So we're like right outside of Amish country.
It's amazing.
Right? And, my 3-year-old just busted into my say hi, Zoe. I'm also a mom of 3.
So, I mean, where do you have the hours? But yes.
Yeah, we create them. We just
Right.
make shit happen. If we could keep babies alive, we could make businesses go. It's a cat.
Right.
I'm the last to be catered to. It's a cat. But from there, we opened up the food trucks and learned that, okay, quick service is a thing. Opened up brick and mortars as a pandemic pivot. My other full service restaurants were on hold because we're in Pennsylvania and they didn't open us up until last minute. So I'm a year without my other restaurants in operation. So I'm focusing now on the brick and mortars for the quick service, Pastanito. So it was under the name Presto at the time. I opened up 7 different locations when everybody else was shutting down.
That's crazy. And were they all in food trucks or were they all different venues?
We went brick and mortar. So we went location. Okay. I negotiated killer leases during a time nobody was leasing. So I got all the tenant allowance. I got short-term leases. I got second-generation restaurants. It was a good time. I just capitalized on it. And we had drive-through, standalone drive-through.
Right. And with a 3-minute cook time, you could do it.
We learned a lot. We failed forward, I like to say, because we didn't get it right off the bat. But we learned really quickly what the proper equipment was, what the tools were needed, how the training needed to go. So we got 7 years of development in like 7 months.
That's
because how really, yeah. So I mean, we learned that 2,400 square feet in an old 5 Guys was too much square feet. And then we learned that, middle of the mall, we could do at 200 square feet. We could do it, but malls were dying. So it's not necessarily our target locations. Mm-hmm. But we have we landed at 1,200 square feet. We landed at drive-through and inline stores. And now we got our FDD at the end of last year and we're ready to rock and roll.
Other people have tried pasta. You said that you have been able to make it work in the 3-minute cook time. And this is why I wanted you to say where you were from.
Yep.
I was fascinated to learn that the reason you were able to do it, similar to people who say the bagels in New York and pizza are better because the water, but the water where you are is better. Yeah. So tell everyone a little bit about how you were able to do this.
It's such a nerdy thing, but I love it. So
we're all dorks at home.
Right? We all want to know the reason why we're different. So York County was York City was the nation's first capital, believe it or not.
Okay.
It's where like the Articles of Confederation were written. And it's like our claim to fame in this little town. But what's cooler is, that's where a lot of development of business started happening back then. So our water company is actually the nation's first ever publicly traded company on the stock exchange. So because it's that old, it has to stay true to how it was back then for the most part. But you don't want to change it because it's so pure. So we still have a reservoir and the hard purification process. Like it's a process to purify our water. We're not dumping chemicals in it. and clarifying it and then shipping it out pipes. Like they just replaced the pipes underground 3 years ago and they were old oak trees.
Wow, that's
It-
crazy.
Wild. And I got to see it from my office. So I had an office in the middle of my square. They were replacing these at the time and all this construction's going on. I look out my window and I'm like, holy shit, they're pulling a tree out of the ground. And here it's the pipes. 200 and something years old and they just replaced them. Wild. But no, that's the true story. I had a food scientist look into it and it's like our water's so pure that when you boil it, it's not competing with the water and with all of the different chemicals and molecules and all that. It's purest form. Just it's cooked in 3 minutes because it's all it is water and flour. So there's no bullshit in any of our ingredients, which is great.
Let's talk about the future of Pastanito and where we want to go. Because you're like me and you have your hands everywhere and talking to everyone about everything. The first thing I ask you is, when can I buy it as a consumer? And you made it clear that that's not today's focus because we're going to stay in our lane for a little bit. You have the location in York. You want to grow.
Mhm.
Where do you want to be 3, 5, 10 years from now with this company?
Yeah. So we have our first franchisee in Lancaster with a 10-pack behind them. They have plans to grow it up towards Detroit. My target market right now at this current time is East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
So in the next year, I want 20 units. In the next 5 years, I want 500 units.
I think that's completely doable.
Hmm.
And then all the pasta comes from you in your R&D kitchen or commissary or however that's going to be.
Yep. So we have a manufacturing facility and we're in distribution, which was very big feat. 6 years it took with my late father to get us into big distribution. And yeah, we made all of the behind the scenes stuff happen. So now it's just a matter of getting people to open up storefronts. And we've simplified operations and build out so much because it doesn't need to be overcomplicated. What I've learned on my journey to get to this point by working with the big fancy chefs and all of the egos in the room is that it doesn't have to be that hard. It doesn't. It needs to be very simple. The KISS method, baby.
Yes.
Yeah, you gotta be able to, as a pandemic pivot, we hired anybody who had a freaking pulse. Like, are you alive? Will you work? Come there, I can teach you how. So we created our entire training model after that. Like if you're 16, you want to work, we can give you a couple hours to fill in here and there. Like I don't need skilled trained chefs. You've taken all of that out of it. We deliver you a product, you assemble. It's just easy to multiply. So that's what we do.
I love that. And in an effort to do a last bit promotion for you and what else is coming up, I know we spoke about and I saw online, so I feel like I could say it here. Shark Tank.
Mhm.
And everyone who's listening should probably call Toni before it airs because it's going to be really exciting based on the internet and all the articles I found. So if you want to see Toni and her great personality, we'll make sure to post online on Dana Delivers when it's going to be on. But in the meantime, Toni, I love you. I love what you're doing. And I can't wait for you to both come to New York as a person and for me to come to Pennsylvania so I could try Pastanito.
I love it, Dana. Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk to you on your awesome podcast.
Thank you. And we'll speak soon. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Dana Delivers. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I want to encourage you to follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and share it with your friends, colleagues, and anyone else who could benefit from it. We have great conversations with top leaders in the restaurant, franchise, and hospitality space, where they offer their knowledge and expertise and give us valuable insight into these industries. If you have any questions or observations you'd like to share with me, please reach out at dana.zukovsky@aprio.com or visit our website at aprio.com to learn more about all the different ways Aprio can help your business. Thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to delivering more valuable content soon.